top level, you need to understand your opponent fundamentally. Like, you need to get inside their head and you need to understand what they're thinking. So even though aDrive and Shoma, they can't communicate with language, through this game, they can actually, in my opinion, learn to understand each other better. And I think there's something really cool about that. So I'm really interested to see these clashes of, and okay, also what's so cool is that they're in such different realms and their teams are so different. You know, aDrive is kind of like offensive setup, like kind of exert pressure, and Shoma's is just like very, 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 very offensive, like really crazy Pokemon. Like Shoma's playing the game in a different way than I think we've seen pretty much ever in VGC 17. Like, I haven't seen a single VGC 17 team that's successful and is working as well as his is working. Like, so
yes,
I don't know. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So it looks like both players are setting up at the moment, and we'll jump into the game like in just a second. But one more thought I had on this, like for Shoma, it is already the 27th. Like, in fact, it's like, I don't know, like 10 a.m. for him in the morning. And the 27th of February is actually a date that is very important for everyone around the world who is interested in Pokemon, since that is the date where the first set of Pokemon games were released red and green in Japan. So that's Pokemon Day. And for that special occasion, if you want to check out like Pokemon.com, there's also a couple of stuff happening over there, as for example a marathon of like TV movies on Twitch. But now we're here. Now it's still the 26th for probably most of you, and we are seeing aDrive going up against Shade Vieira, and I don't believe that is Vieira we're seeing right here. Either way,
I think that's somebody else.
what do you think about these leads coming out?
Vieira, Marcus, he won't stop. All he knows is Drifblim Lele. All he will do is lead Drifblim Lele, and it's working. This guy
it worked.
Exactly,
it worked. So it looks like aDrive wants to capitalize on that lead by going with his Feeny, something that also I tried to do, since that of course instantly will get rid of that Psychic terrain and instead setting up the Misty terrain, which also protects his own Garchomp, from being burned from that Will-O-Wisp that we know is on the Drifblim. But with the Choice Scarf on Garchomp that we've seen in yesterday's play, like leading with 2 choice items, by the way, and the Tapu Lele also having a choice specs on Vieira's end, so a lot of these Pokemon really have to make very big decisions this first turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally forgot that aDrive's Garchomp was in fact Choice Scarf. So part of the reason why Shoma doesn't mind leading with his Tapu Lele is because even though he does lose the terrain, he gets the choice specs boost. So are there 3 choice Pokemon in the field? Because aDrive is
exactly.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I must have missed that. Yeah, it's Choice City, everyone. Nothing on the field can protect. There's not a single Pokemon
exactly.
So this is ridiculous.
This first turn, but maybe that's also something that you can do, especially in such a in a best of 5 situation. And if you're in aDrive's shoes, I wouldn't feel too bad about this, because if you can like make the right calls and maybe get like 2 early knockouts here, then you can probably like outlast the the Tailwind that Vieira just set up here and like go for a quick win here. We're seeing the Rock Slide coming out, and it'll be countered by Dazzling Gleam from Vieira's Choice Specs Tapu Lele. Garchomp is actually able to survive that. And
oh my god!
Not a move we've seen yet, and that is enough to pick up the KO with a critical hit. However, since we know that it's Choice Specs, I'm not super sure how important that was. It will allow Vieira to get a nice switch into whatever he wants. Could be his own Garchomp if he decided to bring that, but that was a big knockout here the first turn.
Hydro Pump's such a risky move because if it's only 80% or is it 85? I just forget.
80?
80% accuracy, but it's such a high risk, high reward move because as you saw, that Tapu Fini normally a Pokemon that does not do well against Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele will eventually outdamage it, but the fact that he had Hydro Pump, I'm not sure if that crit mattered. It honestly might have. I think Shoma has shown that his Tapu Lele is relatively bulky, but
it's pretty bulky.
Yeah, so
a little bit of chip damage with that Rock Slide.
Yes.
So tough call. And Vieira, by the way, something that maybe like some of the viewers do not really understand, like why is he taking so much time? Like he only has 2 Pokemon in the back, like just send something out. But sees someone, because during that time, he already knows what he's going to send out, right? So he can already think about the next turn and the turns after that, where his opponent now basically only has like half the time to make a move selection here. And
yes.
Yeah, that means that now he probably already knows what he wants to do with his Garchomp, bringing it out here, and yeah, he has that Tailwind setup.
Yes, and so I think noting how much time Shoma's taking is really important because Dan doesn't know what Shoma's going to take out. So his 45 seconds here are spent trying to figure out what Shoma's going to do this turn. But Shoma's already figured out what he wants to do this turn. He's now thinking about the next turn, and then maybe he's covering options from there as well. So I think Gyarados is probably coming in here. Yeah, that is Gyarados. He's trying to preserve the longevity of his Tapu Fini, hopefully making it take an attack here. So I'm really interested to see what happens this turn.
Okay, it looks like Garchomp is, Gyarados is the Pokemon that aDrive wants to send out here to deal with that Garchomp that we saw being switched in here. And that makes a lot of sense since, of course, but countered by the Sword Dance right away. Not only, like, getting rid of that Intimidate, but also still
connect
attack stack. However, Hydro Pump will target down that Driftlim, and with the Psychic Seed that we've seen, that is still not enough, so another knockout for that Tapu Fini, and it looks like, yeah, once again, aDrive coming out with that creative choice here of going for the Choice Specs Tapu Fini with Hydro Pump, and it's paying off here.
That was a huge KO because now Shoma can't switch out to reset the Intimidate. And so all the Intimidates, except for the fact that both Gyarados and Garchomp can boost, but Marcus, imagine if he has Arcanine in the back. He's able to cycle Intimidates on 2 physical attackers, and I don't think that Viera is going to be able to outsend him up, especially because he has to deal with this Tapu Fini at some point. So I'm really impressed, yeah.
Exactly. So now, however, on Viera's end, we're seeing 2 Pokemon that have access to a boosting move here in Sword Dance and Dragon Dance. So Tailwind is still up for Viera, and now it really comes down to what does Dan want to do here? Does he want to try and stall out the Tailwind by switching around and like running into the risk of Viera just say going all out with another Sword Dance and maybe even a Dragon Dance as well? Or does he want to like take the risk of just getting 2 Pokemon knocked out relatively quickly? And I think that'll be very important here. It looks like he wants to maintain the Gyarados for later on, since of course that Intimidate ability would be really nice. The Dragon Dance.
If Viera goes for an Earthquake here, that's going to be huge. That's actually going to be enormous. Let's see what he does. Rock Slide. Okay.
So that's his last attack. Okay. It's not enough to get the KO on Garchomp. It also won't KO the Fini, but it does flinch here.
A Hydro Pump there could have been huge, yeah.
It also would have needed to connect the Hydro Pump, of which we already like hit 2 of them. And even with the Choice Specs, I don't think that should be enough to knock out that Garchomp. But of course now, really strong position here for Viera, who can go for another boosting move and then Earthquake to potentially knock out both Pokemon here.
And because both his Pokemon have Earthquake, he could Earthquake with either one if he wasn't expecting
exactly, because we are probably expecting also a switch into Garchomp here. He could also try to go for another one of those Rock Slides. If he like knows that his Garchomp can take that Hydro Pump, that would be another option. But still, it's definitely not over yet. aDrive decides to call back his Garchomp, which we know does have the Choice Scarf, so at +1 speed, it should still outspeed his opponent's Gyarados. Brings up Gyarados, logical choice here, going for another Intimidate, reducing the attack stat of both his opponent's Pokemon.
Another Dragon Dance.
Yeah, good player on Viera's end. So now that Gyarados will outspeed aDrive's Scarf Garchomp, and let's see what does Garchomp go for here.
Yeah, that was Earthquake. Okay, that was a very good move. I think he recognized that it didn't matter if Gyarados came in because it couldn't immediately do that much damage. And so I think, Marcus, based on the way that he's playing the set, I think there's a very good chance that aDrive's last mon is Muck. And if that's the case, I
don't think it's Arcanine at all, because then he could have used that before to get some more Intimidates off. And yeah, I also do think that it is that Muck probably, and that would put Viera in a pretty decent spot now, having boosted his Gyarados as well as the Garchomp, which is now back to neutral attack stack though.
Yes, and so, but if it's Muck, we know that the Gyarados has Waterium Z. So if Dan is able to get rid of that Garchomp, then at least Muck has a better chance of bringing this one back, especially because he can knock off the Citrus Berry of Viera's Garchomp. And the Ground EMZ is not being that helpful here, honestly.
And we've already also seen that Earthquake is a thing on Shoma's Gyarados. So yeah, that duo of Garchomp and Gyarados really helping it out. Also in his set against Enosh, which eventually he did lose. But now against aDrive again, both of them actually now, in fact, with that Garchomp and Gyarados combination.
This is not what I expected to see. I did not expect to see Garchomp and Gyarados all over the place, but I mean, they're both in top 4 and we're going to have one in final, so I guess, they're the ones laughing. I don't know. Okay, he doesn't protect. That could be huge. That could be really big.
Goes for the Waterfall, as we were saying, went for the second Dragon Dance to get that speed boost to even outspeed that Choice Scarf Garchomp. Will take a little bit of recoil thanks to Rough Skin in a return, and aDrive just going for another Dragon Dance here. Wow.
No, that was his first. Wasn't that his first Dragon?
Yeah, that was his first, but we're seeing.
Oh my God! With +1 Waterium Z.
Yes, and we now got confirmation that this Garchomp on Viera's end is in fact like a pretty slow and bulky variant that I think he has also used at the International Championships in London that he attended past December. So he seems to be really liking that type of Garchomp with Sword Dance, Rock Slide, and Earthquake as the only attacking moves. But now we do see that last Pokemon on aDrive's side. It is in fact the Muk. So you were calling that pretty perfectly. But now the question is, of course, like, does the Gyarados, it should be enough to KO the Garchomp, right, with the Z move?
Definitely, but do you think Z move plus Waterfall will KO? Because if that Garchomp isn't max speed, it's got to have some bulk, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's really tough to call this one. Then, of course, something like, I don't know, even if he expects, say, the Protect from Gyarados, he could go really wide and, I don't know, like double up in the Muk. He also still has the Tectonic Rage available to him, right, on the Garchomp.
Not to mention, you can go for a Waterfall Flinch, and Gyarados doesn't have huge physical defense, and if Gyarados is outspeeding a Garchomp, it has to be running a lot of speed, probably at least a Jolly Nature, or a speed-boosting nature, I should say, and some investment as well, which means that maybe aDrive doesn't have that much investment, and if that's the case, I think there's a chance that maybe 2+2 boosted by one stage of attack Waterfalls, what if that KOs? I think there's a chance, right? It's already taken like 30%.
Yeah, so both of them really taking their time and thinking about what they could do. If you want to go active and root for either of those guys, you can, by the way, now also join the game on Twitter, not only using the hashtag GEICO Gaming, but also hashtag underdrive if you're rooting for the underdog aDrive here, or hashtag over Shoma if Shade Vieira is the one you want to see in the finals. Again, guys, this is only the first game, and it's coming down to the very wire. This turn could decide it all. Protect is coming out from Vieira's Garchomp, so he's probably expecting that Z move coming out from his opponent's Gyarados, while aDrive is protecting his own Muk.
Goes for the Waterfall.
Yeah, nice prediction here on Vieira's end, really showing off why he is considered to be one of the very best in the world at this game. The Hydro Vortex is coming out from aDrive's Gyarados, but if I had to guess, that is going into the protecting Garchomp, so
probably
won't do too much damage here. And it looks like Shade Vieira really coming through here, making the right play. Yep, it will be the Garchomp. Let's see how much damage it still does, but yeah, Vieira definitely getting the most out of this turn.
Yeah, that was an amazing turn for Vieira, and I think he might have actually pinned Shoma here, where with Gyarados at an increased stage of attack, well, maybe not, but I think that Gyarados is, I think aDrive's Gyarados is probably in range from Waterfall, and if it's not in range from Waterfall, it is in range of Waterfall plus Rough Skin. And so that would make it a 1-versus-1 against the boosted Gyarados for aDrive, and I think that's going to be a really tough position to come back from. But of course, this is Pokemon; anything can happen. And maybe that last deck was a high damage roll, and this next one will be a low one. So there's still a lot of variability at play here. So I'm really interested to see how this one shakes out.
Yeah. So also, do we expect Waterfall to knock out Garchomp here at this rate?
No, but he has Ice Fang. He has Ice Fang.
Oh right, he has Ice Fang. Yeah, so that's something you can go for. Knock out that Garchomp, and yeah, then we would be coming down to the situation you mentioned before. However, then with everyone off the board, Gyarados' Earthquake would be like a single target, and that should also do a lot of damage. So
yeah,
I think I'd definitely give the advantage here to Vieira. But yeah, that Muk still having its berry available could potentially tank one hit, maybe even two, and hit back with that knockoff. So yeah, the matchup between the Gyarados here, that is going to be really important. Will Waterfall just knock out aDrive's Gyarados, or does he go for he goes for another Protect?
Vieira is crazy.
Well, let's see there. It might not matter, since that Waterfall, it gets the KO either way. So aDrive also knowing that he just like added another chance for him, basically saying that like either this Waterfall knocks you out, and even if it doesn't knock you out, I still have a chance to get off the double protect. It works out for him, and knockoff actually doing a sizable amount of damage. So I think like with Poison Jab, he could have pulled it back with his Muk on its own, but now he knows against both Garchomp and the Gyarados. He knows that there is nothing he can do here. Forfeits the game, and Shade Vieira will take the first game here in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like what was really the kind of the deciding turn at the end of that game was where aDrive protected his Muk and Z Waterfalled into the Garchomp. And if he had Dragon Dance there, for example, I think there's a chance that maybe, well, we don't know how fast the Gyarados are in comparison to each other, but if he called that turn correctly, if he Dragon Danced, if he hadn't Z Waterium Z there, I think he definitely could have won that. But we do have to keep in mind that I think if that single target Rock Slide had hit onto aDrive's Gyarados from the neutral Garchomp, I don't think it would have mattered, because I think he would have been in Waterfall range anyway. So lots of factors at play here. aDrive definitely, I feel like because aDrive has less experience, I feel like as the information game continues, I actually think I favor him gaining more from extended gameplay than Vieira. But Vieira is just such a scary player. I don't know. Whenever I watch Vieira play, I always feel like he's just so good. Like it's almost ungraspable for me to think about how good he actually is and how far ahead he's thinking. I don't know. He's such a terrifying player.
Yeah, and even sometimes like coming in with those plays, just making the right protects, going for he doesn't care. He just goes for the boosting moves when he knows he was down 2 to 4 Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
and he kept both of his Pokemon alive until the very end because he knew how to set himself up. He knew that even if he lost a couple of Pokemon early on, after setting up Tailwind, bringing both Garchomp and Gyarados in at the same time, he could then utilize the fact that Garchomp's Earthquake and Rock Slide like are spread type attacks that threaten 2 Pokemon on his opponent's end. He used that time that he gained to set up Dragon Dance, and then he set up even another Dragon Dance, made sure that he outsped his opponent's Gyarados even after that was boosted, and then was just able to take the game from there. So really well played on Vieira's end, but also aDrive coming really, really close to taking a game of the 2015 World Champion. But again, this is a best-of-5 series, so it's not at all over yet, and he has a couple more shots at winning not only one, but maybe like all 3 games that he would need to advance into the finals against Cybertron.
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't know, that was such an interesting match. And like the Hydro Pump from Feeney was also really, really interesting. Marcus, I have to know right now, is Vieira going to lead Balloon and Lele in game 2? What do you think? What are the odds?
Dude, if I had to bet, I would probably say yes.
I would say yes as well.
Because his other favorite lead, like Lele Pheromosa, doesn't seem too great to be too great here. If we are on the topic of predictions, though, I do think that there is a potential for that maybe aDrive wants to go with his Arcanine. I agree. It doesn't look really strong against Gyarados and Garchomp, especially considering that both of them have those boosting options with Dragon Dance and with Swords Dance. But if he's able to get it in early on, kind of like threaten the Drifblim and the Lele a little bit, and then like maintain it in the back for just one round of Intimidate, that could probably be enough to say set up his own Gyarados. Since if he gets off those double Intimidates, then Dragon Dance on its own is not enough to counter those recycled Intimidates. And then if he can set up his own Gyarados, then just imagine if he had, say, like 1 or 2 more Dragon Dances, he probably would have been able to take that last game.
Yeah, it seems like whenever we watch Shoma play, not with the exception of your set, with the other sets that we saw, it seemed like it was kind of like early game, damage, get your sweepers into position, and then with boost one of them, and then use the boosted sweeper to protect the other one. So either Garchomp protecting the Gyarados as Gyarados Dragon Dances and Garchomp Earthquakes, or Gyarados in one situation actually Earthquaked while Garchomp Swords Dance.
Exactly. So I wanted to mention that as well. Like that play on its own, I remember how you freaked out about this because he Earthquake his own Garchomp, but it was a safe play because he knew that it would damage, or I mean it was a prediction, but it would cover the options that he was expecting from his opponent, damaging his own Pokemon. But that didn't matter since he was boosted up afterwards, and then the roles switched a little bit since then Garchomp is the one going for those Earthquakes.
Gyarados can can
avoid them. Exactly. So really incredible play actually coming out from Vieira here in that set. And the question, of course, is now if you're Vieira, you already asked me that, but what do you think? Do you think that there's anything he needs to change? Because he got the Pokemon disadvantage pretty early on, and now if Dan was able to capitalize on that a little bit better and not overrun by that Tailwind option, maybe Vieira wants to switch something up, or what do you think about that?
Well, the thing is that his Pheromosa is physical and might be lacking Protect, and I don't think Magnezone makes a lot of sense here because Dan has Waterium Z Gyarados, but mostly he has Arcanine and Garchomp and Togedemaru, all of which are pretty bad for Magnezone. So I feel like he has to stick with the Pokemon he brought. He could switch up the order, but because Dan has 2 Intimidate Pokemon, or Intimidate Pokemon with Intimidate on his side of the field, I feel like if you're Vieira, I actually feel like you don't really have a choice. I feel like you have to bring the same leads because they're your only special attackers that you can really want to bring to the matchup. But we don't know the Magnezone set. It could be something cool. But if it's not anything really, really useful here, I feel like you have to bring the same 4. And actually what I think is about part of what's really scary about Vieira's team is he has the option sometimes of bringing back his Lele when the opponent has Feeney on the field and then bringing it back in, and Specs boosted Psychic just hits so incredibly hard. It's ridiculous. So I think that Shoma definitely got some unfortunate things that game. But so did Dan. So I don't know. I'm really interested. Let's see. Oh my gosh, who could have predicted this?
Here we are, second game of this best-of-5 series between aDrive and Vieira. Make sure to show your support in chat or on Twitter. using the respective hashtags, and we are seeing the Togedemaru. I'm so happy that aDrive decides to pull that out here, going with Togedemaru and Tapu Fini. So he should be able to get off some, say, fake out on the Tapu Lele and then some strong attacks right away.
So what's cool about this situation is that that Drifblim has Tailwind, Shadow Ball, Rain Dance, and Will-O-Wisp. And I think what's cool at Togedemaru here is not only does it threaten Drifblim with Zing Zap, but it also has Encore. And locking Drifblim into a move like Tailwind could be really, really beneficial for aDrive. So we do now have one Pokemon on the field with a protecting move. aDrive has access to Fake Out. He has access to a really strong, powerful Water type attack. And I don't know. I think this position is pretty good for aDrive, but Togedemaru definitely is. It's threatened by the Garchomp in the back and the Gyarados in the back, since if he has those, because they both have Earthquake. So as long as he has the balloon, he'll be okay. But I'm interested to see whether or not Viera sets a Tailwind now, or maybe if he waits for a turn and goes for Shadow Ball.
That's
Fake Out.
That's actually something that I was also like pretty impressed with, like how well he managed to use those Tailwind turns in the game that I played against him.
He always delayed it, setting it up.
Exactly, and just waited for the very right moment. But going for the Zing Zap here, actually doing a decent chunk of damage. So now if Tapu Fini is able to get that KO on the Drifblim, he would be able to deny Trick Room all around. It'll be close. This is Choice Specs boosted, but Psychic Seed on the Drifblim, and it is enough for the knockout. Wow! Getting the accuracy drop on Tapu Lele in the process as well. And now he denied that Trick Room. I think Drifblim just felt a little too safe there in the situation. Staring down at Togedemaru and Tapu Fini. I mean, what is going to happen? He had the Psychic Seed. Again, he was probably expecting that Fake Out to come his way and didn't want to be encored into Tailwind. So fantastic play here by aDrive, getting the first knockout of this game here.
Yeah, and what I think is really interesting there is that when I saw Shadow Ball come out into that Tapu Fini, I thought he might have gone for a Moonblast. You know, maybe tried to double into it to try and pick up a KO. But instead he goes for a Dazzling Gleam, which had no chance of KOing. So I guess he was trying to get some damage off, maybe pop the air balloon, and go from there. But this game isn't like irrecoverable, but I do think that like denying Tailwind there is actually really important, because now aDrive if aDrive brought that Garchomp that has Choice Scarf in the back, then Shoma will need 2 Dragon Dances initially to outspeed it, and that's going to be kind of tough to get based on how aDrive is playing. So really, sorry.
Yeah, so I really, like, at first I was a little bit surprised with the choice of Togedemaru, thinking whether he thought that was good against the Gyarados potentially, but we have already seen that Earthquake being a thing there. But using it to just take down the Drifblim in the first turn was actually super clever.
Yeah.
However, we're seeing the Garchomp come out from Viera, and even without Tailwind, it should be at least faster than the Tapu Fini on his opponent's end. So now, I don't even know. Do you go for just Rock Slide and Dazzling Gleam to knock out the Tapu Fini, since you know it is choice locked? Because it'll be hard making a pointer to Earthquake or your own Tapu Lele. And if he switched into his own Gyarados, then that opens opportunities for Togedemaru to go for maybe a Zing Zap in that slot, or the Tapu Fini just surviving that hit all around with, say, something like the Gyarados coming in and helping it out with its Intimidate ability.
Marcus, we forgot about a very crucial piece of information. aDrive's Gyarados has Ice Fang, and it outspeeds. Oh my gosh, that's a critical hit. Yeah. So if Dazzling Gleam connects on the Gyarados, it does. Oh my gosh, that was a really super well played by Dan, but unfortunately, Rock Slide crit and Dazzling Gleam connecting literally turned that game around. Like that was a huge turn for Shoma, and the fact that the Gyarados outspeeds Garchomp and can Ice Fang is huge, right? Like it puts on so much pressure. Kawateri Z. I don't know. That was a huge turn.
I think he got a little bit too excited there, because I'm not really sure what the Togedemaru could have done for the rest of the battle. So maybe it could have been like a little bit wiser to just like sack that off. Let him take the Togedemaru, because he knows that he had the Gyarados in the back waiting to intimidate that Garchomp, which, as you said, was faster. Could go for the Ice Fang. However, he wanted to get that in as soon as possible, get up there, intimidate. Was a little bit punished there by being a little overeager with that critical hit. So now, the tides have turned again. Now it looks like Viera is the one with a pretty good position here.
Yeah, and I think what Dan was expecting there was the Earthquake to come into the field, maybe a switch out into Gyarados and to go for an Earthquake, and in that situation it would have been a pretty nice position for him, making Tapu Fini survive the Earthquake, launching a Muddy Water, getting his Gyarados in for free, and there is the Gyarados, but he's fingers crossing. He wants to know. He Zing Zap that slot. I would bet anything. No. What if he Rock Slide? This is going to be big. Intimidate, lowering both these physical attackers. Guard jump goes for a rock slide. Dan knows his win condition. He's saying, please guard jump, please flinch guard jump. Let's see what happens.
But how is he going to get rid of the guard jump on his opponent's end?
It outsped a guard jump. Togedemaru just outsped a guard jump and should. Oh my god! Wait, Marcus, if he flinches, he could lose. Oh wait, no. How's he gonna get rid of guard jump?
Always, yeah.
Oh, but it's exciting anyway. We don't even care. Maybe he has a plan.
He gets that flinch. Yeah. Okay, but I think that is actually a very crucial piece of information. Okay, Togedemaru, because. Okay, so first game, he got beaten back by that Gyarados plus guard jump combination, you know? Mm-hmm. You know what would totally beat that? Togedemaru and Gyarados.
Yeah.
Because he has Ice Fang for the guard jump and Zing Zap for the Gyarados. So maybe I think Togedemaru is actually something that he wants to bring here in this matchup.
Marcus, and Togedemaru has Encore, so if guard jump tries to protect itself with any moves, he can Encore it into it.
Exactly. So yeah, I think Togedemaru, while I'm not sure if there's still like a decent chance for Dan to win this game. I do think that with the information of like the speed tiers and what the Togedemaru can do in this matchup, it still looks like that could be something to focus on in the next couple of games. And he came so close here to win, and I think he won't like make that mistake of switching in the Gyarados too early, like in the third or potentially a later game.
You know, he's down 0-2, but like that's what I'm saying. I feel like he's improving. Like, I feel like he downloaded Aaron's technology, and he's he's bringing it back. That did less than I thought. Oh, but Moonblast coming out. Shoma's so smart, dude. Shoma recognizing what he needs to do to win here. But yeah I don't know. I feel like Dan
didn't. Yeah, he did. Like Dan just without the Gyarados, without the Tapu Fini, just didn't have what it took to do any damage to his opponent's guard jump whatsoever. Basically, still trying to go for the flinches here, of course. But yeah, eventually it will look like Shoma is going to take the second game as well. So he'll be up 2-0, and yeah, now the crazy part begins. You know, because we are having here at the Pokemon Invitational brought to you by GEICO Gaming. We will be actually using best of 5 to determine who will advance into the finals against Cybertron. So yeah, he has just a couple more chances here. So he used 2 games. The first one, I gotta say, he was up 4-2, right? But then Vieira just like showing that he had probably like calculated and expected all of that just all along. He knew that he needed Gyarados and Garchomp next to each other, and then he could take the game. Second game, huge turn 1 for aDrive. He gets rid of the Drifloon right away, denies his opponent to set up the Tailwind, and was looking to be in a super strong position. Then that critical hit happened on the switch in. But yeah, once again, if that crit didn't happen, or if Dan just didn't switch in the Gyarados and maybe sacked off something else, I do think that he was in a like pretty fantastic position to potentially take that game. And now he's come so close twice. Do you think that in the first game he will be able to overcome the odds here and take out Vieira?
I feel like it's only a matter of time. Like both games, I feel like he was in a good position, but maybe just like the lack of experience with playing VGC, like that. I feel like that's all that held him back. Like he had the tools he needed, he made the plays he needed, but I think that's why like Shoma's so scary, is that he's kind of covering for, even if Dan makes the right plays in the short term, Shoma has the long term down. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I feel like he just got a little overeager. He kind of saw he didn't think about the game as in like a broad enough sense, right? Where he was thinking like, okay, Gyarados can switch in here pretty free. He probably Earthquakes, but he didn't think about like, even if Fini goes down, if I get Gyarados and Togedemaru in at the same time, I can just set up really easily. So I really like Dan could have taken both of those games, and I would not be surprised at all to see him take the third game. And he's adapting. That's the thing. Like, that game to adaptation was so good. You know, like I feel like Togedemaru is such a good call here, and maybe Arcanine is a place as well. Though that game, I feel like Arcanine wouldn't have been as good, maybe.
Yeah, I think the Pokemon he chose here were pretty much spot on. With that Togedemaru threatening the Zing Zaps, not only outspeeding the Tapu Lele but also the Gyarados. So really also coming in clutch, damaging the Drifblim. So I think for the third game, like if it should come down to a similar situation with Drifblim Lele against something with Togedemaru on Dan's end, I do think that maybe Vieira would then just go ahead and set up Tailwind straight away, not wanting to have anything to like deal with potentially being knocked out, because he now saw that, okay, wow, all my Pokemon are actually slower than my opponents. I really need that Tailwind. And thanks to the Unburden ability on Drifblim, upon activating its Psychic Seed, it outspeeds everything. So he could just go for the Tailwind right away, and there is no way that Dan could stop that. So I really do think that, the question of the ongoing or the upcoming games will be like, does Dan have the resources to outstall the Tailwind, and will Vieira like keep on going with the same strategy, or does he like want to switch things up maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like Togedemaru being so fast is such a huge factor in this game, because being able to outspeed Garchomp and go for an Encore, being able to outspeed Gyarados and go for a Zing Zap, being able to outspeed Tapu Lele and going for a Zing Zap and flinching it like this, or maybe picking up a KO and at his low HP. So many factors are at play here, and I didn't expect Togedemaru to be so good, but I feel like Dan's use of Togedemaru is really brilliant, and I actually really agree with the Air Balloon play as well. So
yes,
yeah, this is an interesting set, guys. If you think that Dan is going to win, please press 1. Please press 1 if you believe in underdrive. I need to know right now. Press 1 for Dan. Yes, and we should be getting back into the game soon. Yeah.
Yeah, so we should be going into the game soon. And once again, I do think that the Pokemon that Dan chose here, the Togedemaru, the Garchomp, the Gyarados, and the Tapu Fini, like those 4 are probably the ones that he wants to have here in the set. And same thing for Vieira. He knew all along what he wanted to go for with the Lele, the Drifblim, the Gyarados, and the Garchomp. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Do both of them just stick to the guns? Will they use the same plan again in this third game of this best of 5 set? They are already setting up, and we will jump into the game really, really soon. Your prediction, putting you on the spot. What do you think? Who's going to lead off with?
Listen, I know it's crazy. But I have a feeling in my gut that Vieira might lead with Drifblim, Tapu Lele. And actually, before we jump into it, one thing I know, it's very unorthodox, but I do want to say one thing is that Dan has been using both games turn 1. He's led Tapu Fini, and he's locked himself into a water move, and both of those moves are inaccurate. So it's paid off for Dan so far, but I feel like if Dan does this enough, he might eventually have a situation where one of his powerful water moves misses. Oh my god, who could have predicted this? He goes with Drifblim, Tapu Lele as Dan again adapts and leads Muck Tapu Fini. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I do think if you're Vieira, like you just won 2 games, right? So why switch things up? You could even lose 2 games and still have a shot at winning. Yeah. Realizing that, hey, like, why should I change something? You first of all, you have to show me a reason of why I should not just go with the same plan again.
Absolutely. Yeah, and what's interesting here is that he's brought Muck, Marcus, which means that he can only have 2 of Gyarados, Garchomp, and Togedemaru, and we thought he would have all 3. So yes. I think I like the Muck play here. I think he probably has Gyarados in the back, so I think he has to choose between either Togedemaru or Garchomp.
Yeah, so Dan really like being probably also like really anticipating this specific lead, because you wouldn't want to lead Muck, Tapu Fini against something like, I don't know, Garchomp and whatever. So
Dan says comeback? Question mark?
He's praying for the comeback here. Also calling back his Muck here, bringing out the Gyarados.
Ooh, I have a bad feeling about this one, Marcus. I have a bad feeling about this one.
Why?
I think that Shoma probably went for either Tailwind or, I don't know, Shadow Ball and something else into the... No, he goes for Tailwind, but I think this is probably going to be Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast.
I think aDrive probably anticipated a switch here into, say, the Garchomp here to take care of the Muck. Instead, though, we're just seeing Dazzling Gleam, and yet there is that Moonblast going straight into the Tapu Lele. And yeah, once again, Shoma realizing that he just needs to set up the Tailwind turn 1 to just guarantee that he has that speed advantage, at least for the first couple of turns. And it looks like here, the first Dazzling Gleam really doing a lot of damage, and Drifblim outspeeding the entire field can now go for a Shadow Ball that we know is so powerful. I'm not sure if it would be enough, but maybe like even Shadow Balling the Tapu Fini and going for another Dazzling Gleam could be enough to get the KO there. Shadow Balling into the Gyarados would then activate the Citrus Berry, but yeah,
it's Watarian Z. You got your Gyarados.
Oh, right, sorry, that's the other guy's Gyarados, right? So that would also be enough for a knockout here. So yeah, Vieira really putting himself here in a position where he can just like take that first KO, and that can be so important here.
Here's why I think this is so scary. The way that let's see who we Shadow Balled first. Oh, is it Muck or Gyarados? It's Gyarados. That's not good for aDrive.
He's just so good.
He's really good. So here's why this is so scary. The way that Shoma's playing is he doesn't care if his Lele goes down. He's literally using it just to do early game damage so that he can put the he doesn't want to KO Pokemon. He wants to put them in range. He wants to put them in range so that his sweepers, so he can get into the position where his sweepers can KO everything while the other one boosts. That's so incredibly clever, and like, I don't know. Let's see what his last mon is here. Tapu Fini. Oh, damn, not like this. Not like this. Tapu Fini being unable to protect himself from a Dazzling Gleam means that Shoma's going to be doing so much damage this turn.
Yeah, and it looks like Shoma eventually, it looks like aDrive's road is coming to a close here. Yeah, Shade Vieira, the final boss from Japan here in the semifinals, standing in his way with his Drifblim Tapu Lele combination. really like just setting up the tailwind straight away, and then calling that. And also I think maybe aDrive was to be like a little bit too trying to predict a little bit too much that first turn, going for the Moonblast there and calling back the Muck. I do think that once again Viera still hadn't seen any clear reason of why he needed to significantly change anything up with his strategy. Actually, though, Tabu Fini is able to hang in here after the Dazzling Gleam, so he will be able to get off some attacks here.
Muddy Water, like I said, it was only a matter of time until that missed.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Dan. He cannot be happy about that. Lele is probably going down. Yep. Lele is going down. So this is a knockoff. And it is. So maybe, actually, let's see how much this does. But with Muddy Water, there's a chance. I actually think that would have KO'd with Muddy Water. So that's unfortunate. I think, at least. It's hard to tell if it actually was unfortunate.
I mean, there's still the item on, the Psychic Seed. But, yeah. Anyway, even if that KO'd, then you gotta believe that there is Garchomp and Gyarados waiting in the back for Viera. Still with that speed advantage. Now Garchomp in. Tabu Fini will go down here, and then Muck will also not have a very pleasant time here against that Garchomp on Viera's end.
Yeah, unfortunately. So a really incredible showing by aDrive. It's not over yet. This game isn't over yet, but you have to think with Tailwind up, with Garchomp in, with two Pokemon that are either in Earthquake range or weak to Earthquake, it's looking pretty bad for our underdog here. But maybe he can bring it back. But Viera, I don't know, he's just such a clever player. I feel like he already knows what he has to do to win this game.
Yeah, definitely. So both players thinking about what they could do here. aDrive decides to protect his Muck since, there is no reason for him to just try and go ahead for any attacks here. Have we seen his last Pokemon?
No, we haven't.
I don't think so. Yeah. So
what if
Gyarados? And,
no, he's already KO'd Gyarados. But what if it starts Garchomp? No, you're fine. Yeah. Oh, aDrive does the Z dance. He's punching the ground. He probably is not too happy about the way this has gone.
Yeah, still at least calling that Tectonic Rage coming out here into his protecting Muck. But even that, that's actually a pretty interesting call, because usually that does not activate the berry, and then afterwards you can go for Earthquake to pick up the KO. But since Viera's Garchomp looks to be like so offensive and
the berry was already activated. Actually, he double Dazzling Gleam activated it.
Yeah, but just like based on the interaction, because usually if you're going to see the Z animation going off into a Muck, then that will activate, or will not activate, that berry. But yeah, we already saw that not being a factor any longer, and now, it all comes down to aDrive's own Garchomp, but with Drifblim outspeeding it, and Garchomp still being a thing on his opponent's team, it'll be a tough way to still come up on top here.
Yeah, so I mean, still an incredible tournament performance by aDrive. And actually, what is Viera doing? Sorry, I thought Tailwind was still up. That's my bad.
No, he's just saying like, okay, my Drifblim outspeeds your Garchomp thanks to the Unburden ability anyway. And he's going for some more Rock Slides here, and that might KO the Drifblim as it does. So we will get to see Viera's last Pokemon here. But yeah, just not really wanting to take any risks, setting up Tailwind again. And it looks like Viera will join Cybertron in the finals here, as this should be Gyarados. There it is. So he is pretty free to go for an Earthquake to do damage to the Muck and knock it out, and then also Waterfall to get rid of the Garchomp.
Yeah.
And really well played.
Switch Drive. Oh, I'm sorry, aDrive, but I think Tailwind means. I think that's why he went Protect Tailwind. So, unfortunately,
I don't think he has too many options to go for those flinches. But still, we shouldn't forget that he's shown us such incredible play here over the course of this tournament. Beating Cybertron, two very accomplished players in the VGC scene.
Yeah,
he was the underdog going into this tournament. He was the underdog going into the series, and it looks like Viera, Shoma Honami, from Japan, will be the one advancing here into the finals. He tried, he did his best, and I'm sure that he's happy for what he was able to do in this tournament. And so we will have our finals matchup that we can talk about just in a second. But once again, I want to stress how impressive aDrive's performance in this tournament really was.
Yes, I cannot. I mean, I played against him myself, and I was really blown away. And I think he did an amazing job proving everyone wrong who was doubting him. He says, "Love you guys." Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, shout outs to everyone who came here for aDrive, and shout out to him for being such a good sport and really, really like just having an incredible attitude. You know, it's so hard when people are negative about you online and like saying like mean stuff about you, but he never let it get him down. He came here, he made a statement, and he won $100. You know, and that's really impressive. You know,
Yeah,
he said if he won $500,
is he going to get the
I want to
sculpture,
ask him
or-
if we do a losers interview, let's ask him if he's going to get a life size cutout of me. I would like just to say as well that I really like the picture they use for Shoma is like it's like him with the thumbs up. I feel like for those of you who've met Shoma, you know he's really really funny and he's like a troll, not in a bad way, but he really likes to mess with people, and I think that. Yeah, go ahead.
He's super funny. Yeah, really, really great guy. And I'm looking forward to meeting him next month. But in that set, like if we were just thinking about like, was there anything that maybe aDrive could have done a little differently? We were talking about maybe focusing on the Gyarados a little harder, could be something. But even then, it would have been super tough to overcome Viera, right? Because he's been showing such consistent play. Like he basically always got to set up in those situations with his sweepers, whether it's in Tailwind or not. And yeah, I think maybe after this tournament, like that could be like a new archetype coming out of this, since I haven't really seen like a team like this, and it's been really working for him here.
One of the cool things about having players from outside VGC come into VGC is they don't have any of the the structures of teams already in their minds, and sometimes that means that maybe they build teams that aren't as good. But I think in aDrive's case, he showed that he built a team that was like really not standard at all, but he did really well with it. And I think part of what's cool about this invitational is seeing the different team archetypes and maybe having him